So Pastorale di Natale, which I translate as the shepherd's song of the birth. Very important Italian Christmas carol.
So we're here with Sean Folsom, who just played the Italian Zampogna, which is the Southern Italian bagpipe. And Sean is a friend of mine, and he's also the person who helped me get started in learning this instrument back about 5 years ago.
Did a real good job.
So Sean, tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Zampogna. When did you start playing it? How did you get involved? What is your connection to the instrument?
One of the interesting things was I had already started playing the Scottish bagpipes in 1970, and in 1972 I bought a catalog of the Pitt Rivers Museum collection. Pitt Rivers was really a great 19th century English collector of just about everything, like Mercer in Philadelphia.
How would you explain the difference, as someone who plays bagpipes from all over the world, different cultures, how do you explain the difference between the Italian Zampogna versus, say, the Scottish bagpipe or the Irish uilleann pipe?
Well, they fulfill the same needs in their communities. Music for the dance, sacred music.
Now, you started out playing the Sicilian bagpipe over here. That's the one you've been playing the longest?
Yes, I got a hold of a pipe made in California by Brian Steger, and it needed a lot of work, and it was really tough to play and keep in tune. But that was my first Zampogna in 1979.
Okay.
And then this I got in 1984. I gave away the Brian Steger pipe to a Scottish piper and said, "Good luck." You know.
Do you want to play? Would you like to play?
Yeah,
the
let's
Sicilian
play.
pipe for us
Yeah,
and let us
yeah, sure.
hear it? Well, we still have some time here. I know you have another instrument with you. It's not a Southern Italian instrument, but I believe it's played in northern parts of northern Italy.
That's right.
And also in France. This is an instrument that's somewhat similar to a Zampogna, but instead of having reeds, it has strings.
That's right.
So
this
explain this and let's
it's
hear what it
played
sounds
the
like.
bagpipes in France, and this is a French instrument, but there are many different makers in Italy now making these, both guitar-shaped and lute-shaped. So this is like the bowl of a bowback mandolin. The guitar shape kind of projects a little bit better than these. It's a little bit louder, but this one has got that really great sound.
Mm-hmm.
And in Italian it's called lira gironda, wire turning around. And a brief explanation of how it works. The wheel is rosin like a violin bow.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a moving bridge here. It's a little bridge that's loose, that when I jog the crank, the wheel momentarily speeds up and the bridge buzzes. So that's as many coups as you can put in, or blows. That's the rhythm. Mm-hmm. And then these keys shorten the melody strings. So there are two melody strings on this instrument. It's in the key of D, and they're in octaves. So this is D just above middle C, and this is D an octave higher. Everything else is D as well, and it plays in the key of D and in G, which I kind of call it cross key or plagal. Anyway,
Play us a tune.
Yeah, one of the tunes, Ray Gallardon, from the playing of La Chappa Russa, which is a great band from northern Italy, from the Piemontese, and it's they have a lira gironda, they have the North Italian piffero and accordion thing, and they really wonderful band, La Chappa Russa.
Grazie Gianluca. So we're here with Gianluca Zamarelli, a friend of mine who lives in Rome, Italy. I'm David Marker. And Gianluca came to Fairfield, Iowa for this All Things Italian Festival for the Zampogna Master Series. And Gianluca is basically like our special guest here because he's very knowledgeable about the Zampogna tradition, and his family comes from an area where this instrument is traditionally played. And so he just played for us. He started out by playing a pastorale, which is a slower pastoral tune, and then he played a part of a tarantella. Tarantella is a dance tune. Allora Gianluca, spiega un pochettino come hai cominciato di suonare la zampogna, spiega la tradizione per te, per le tue radici, la tua famiglia, la tua zona dove origini tu. I'm asking Gianluca to explain how he started playing the zampogna and what it means for him and where his family's from and his tradition.
Ok, allora io vengo da una zona dell'Italia, provincia di Salerno, chiamata Cilento, che risente più di tradizioni della Lucania, alle tarantelle.
Let me translate that. So Gianluca's family comes from a region in southern Campania that's south of Salerno. So to put that in perspective, it's basically farther south than Naples. Naples would be the largest big city. And the region is called the Cilento region. And it's a very rural area. And the Zampogna is played there for lots of different occasions, but it's played generally by people in rural countryside area.
E, diciamo tutto è nato quando mia nonna mi ha regalato una ciaramella.
His grandmother gave him a gift of an instrument called the charamella, which is an instrument that is often used to accompany the Zampogna. It's like a little oboe thing that looks similar to one of the pipes on the Zampogna, but it's played by blowing it directly with the mouth. And they use them to play with that. So his grandmother gave him one of those, and that's how his interest started with this type of music.
E quindi me l'ha regalata.
Okay, so the reason his grandmother gave him this instrument is because the Zampogna and this other instrument, the charamella, which is the mouth-blown oboe, are used very heavily in Christmas celebrations, and she wanted him to be able to play for the Christmas celebrations. And around the time of Christmas, they have big feasts, and everyone gets together and they play music, and it lasts all day. And she wanted him to be able to participate in that musically.
E quindi piano piano poi dalla ciaramella sono passato alla zampogna, perché è normale, chi suona la zampogna poi suona anche la ciaramella, perché si va in coppia o da sole la ciaramella, e via dicendo fino ad arrivare anche che adesso le costruisco pure.
So eventually, after he learned how to play the charamella, he learned how to play the zampogna, because most zampogna players can play both of them because they're often played in couples. And like he said, they play them for Christmas time, and they use them to play the novena, which is the 9 days leading up to Christmas, and it's sort of a form of Italian Christmas caroling, where players from these rural regions will go around and play the novena. To explain how the instrument is existing in modern times and a little bit about that.
Ma, io ti rispondo da giovane, nel senso che vedendolo come uno strumento nuovo, l'interesse è proprio dei giovani, che cosa ci posso fare con questo strumento? Comunicare, no? In qualche modo.
Okay, allora provo di tradurre questo.
Sì.
Basically he's saying that this instrument is traditionally played by shepherds, rural people, and Gianluca is a more modern person. He's not a shepherd, but yet he was also attracted to this instrument because his family and his culture comes from these rural regions. And this instrument is becoming more popular for young people because they're starting to rediscover the instrument, because it kind of fell out of favor for a generation or two and was somewhat lost. And now young people are wanting to discover the instrument because it's one of the only instruments that is uniquely Italian, because the guitar comes from the Arabs, he said, and other instruments come from different regions, but the Zampogna is the one instrument you can look at and say, this is strictly Italian. And so young Italian people are drawn to the instrument because of that, and the only people they can learn the instrument from are their grandparents. The older generations are teaching them, the young people, how to play it. And because it's sort of being rediscovered, in a way it's almost like a new instrument. It's not just an old instrument, because it's being rediscovered by younger musicians, people who aren't from the traditional setting, who aren't necessarily shepherds. For them it's an exciting new instrument to learn how to play the Zampogna, that it's also connected to the Italian identity.
Poi è legato anche alla riscoperta di una vita, essere suonato oggi. Questo è
So he's explaining that this instrument is also used in lots of festive situations, and people are realizing that this instrument is important for these festivals, and it's more fun than listening to disco music or something, to get together and eat food and spend time with your friends and family. It's just not the same without this instrument, and so people are learning from the elders to reintroduce this instrument back into these festivals. finisciamo.
Grazie David.
Grazie per venire in America e condividere questa tradizione.
Grazie a voi tutti.
Grazie.
Grazie.
So
Ciao.
he's
Ciao.
thanks us, and I was thanking him for coming to America and teaching us more about this music. I'm David Marker, and I'm here with Lionel Battari from Chicago. You play the Zampogna, the Italian bagpipe, and it's something that you've been passionate about for a number of years. Tell us a little bit about your involvement and how you came about with the instrument.
Mountains, and we were introduced to an old bagpipe maker whose name was Luciano Di Fiore. And he showed us some bagpipes, and I said, would it be possible for me to buy one? Oh, sure, you could buy one. Well, isn't it kind of hard to learn how to play the thing? And he says, oh, well, it's better to have a teacher. And I says, okay, where would I find a teacher? He says, where do you live? I says, I live in America. He says, oh, my nephew lives in America. He can teach you. And I said, north or south? And he gave the name of a suburb of Chicago. And strangely enough, I went to see the guy. His name was just Giuseppe Di Fiore, and he agreed to try to teach me, how to play the bagpipe, and he almost succeeded. So I can play a little bit.
Charlie.
You're welcome, David. You're welcome.
We're here with Charlie Rutan from Philadelphia, and he was just playing a very large bagpipe for us. So explain the instrument, Charlie.
Well, thanks for inviting me to Fairfield from Philadelphia. What we have here is the Italian Zampogna. It's basically a 5-foot long bagpipe that's used in parts of Cilento and basically throughout southern Italy in certain combinations. The instrument actually was brought over for me by Gianluca Zamorelli a couple years ago. It's made by a close friend of his in the Cilento region. And I just love to play it because, whenever your day is going bad, you can just pull out your 5-foot long bagpipe and all your troubles, folks, just seem to vanish.
Now, you're the only person that's come to the interviews that's brought a ciaramella, or also called a piffero. And these are often played with the Zampogna in a pair. They go around and one person plays the ciaramella and sings when they're not playing the ciaramella, and the other person plays the Zampogna. So, go ahead and explain this instrument. Maybe you can do a little demonstration or something.
Absolutely, love to. It's a double reed single pipe. The Zampogna, as you see, has 2 pipes, 1 for each end, but all the notes are lined up in a straight line here so we can have a larger scale. So the range of the charamel, I can play low notes and really high notes too. I can also do things like staccato with my tongue, dynamics, make things a little louder, a little softer, and I can change between staccato and short notes and long notes and do all sorts of interesting vibrato effects with that. It's that's not it. It's operated by a double reed. This is the same kind of thing that oboe and bassoon players and uilleann pipe makers use.
And it's similar to the reed that plays in the pipes of the Zampogna.
Yes, yes, but this is it has to be made out of cane. You can't use synthetic materials on the charamel reed because I really have to admit it just doesn't have the same potential as it does.
It even overblows.
And there you have the charamella.
Well, thanks, Charlie. I know you're doing a lot of great stuff in the East Coast to keep this tradition going and provide a cultural service for Italian Americans in the Philadelphia and greater area. And I guess just kind of explain what is it about this? You're not even Italian, but here you are, doing all this. Well, what is it about this? Because obviously you enjoy this more than just. I mean, it started out as just learning that one song to go play in South Philly, but it's evolved for you personally. Can you explain a little bit just about that?
Well, I mean, it's completely snowballed. These instruments for a musician are just so easy to fall in love with because they do things that other bagpipes just aren't in the same league with. I mean, you can't play a counter melody and do all kinds of harmony on your usual kind of generic bagpipe. And it's a captivating sound. I really have to admit the form of the instrument is interesting musically, and the music that is played is just captivating. I mean, it's just kind of taken a hold of a lot of my musicality.
Well, thanks a lot for sharing this with us, and glad you made it to Fairfield for this festival.
You're very welcome, David. Looking forward to playing for you.
All right, great.